There's a piece of a kind of string, and there's a battery. You put the string under there, and you have a little light, a little tiny light on. A little light, and you put, here's the battery, and you put it on top of it, and it lights.
Language is so important in our lives. We learn to speak, write, and communicate as we grow up.
You attach it to the string, and it works again.
We use words, sentences, language with people in our neighborhoods.
Excuse me, would you like any help?
My car won't start.
I can give you a jump start if you want.
Thanks, that would be nice.
And with people across the globe.
A nivel político, por ejemplo, se especula con la posibilidad de que Felipe González, el presidente del gobierno español, viaje a Argel.
George McGehee got the goal in the 17th minute. Morton had an excellent chance of gaining a point in the last minute.
Dear listeners, welcome to the Chinese Studio Classroom, a program provided by the Voice of Free China. You're listening to the song of the Chinese phonetic symbols.
Esta es la BBC. Antes del boletín de noticias, las campanadas del Big Ben anunciando la hora exacta.
We often take language for granted without thinking about the role it plays in personal growth, in understanding each other, and in working toward world peace. One event in modern history, more than any other, demonstrated the need to understand other languages and cultures. That was World War II. Our armed forces had to make heroic efforts to overcome the fact that Americans knew very little about the people we were fighting, and even less about two of our major allies, the Russians and the Chinese. 12 years after the war was over, the Russians launched Sputnik 1, the first Earth-orbiting satellite, thereby starting the space age and creating a wave of concern in the United States about the teaching of mathematics, sciences, and foreign languages in our schools and universities.
In July 1957, an historic conference was held at Ann Arbor, Michigan. The conference was convened to improve communication between linguists and language teachers about language-related problems in changing societies. This pioneering conference recognized the need to bridge the gap between language scholars and teachers in the United States and abroad. Thus, the 58 participants, of which I was one, agreed on the need to establish a new organization that could serve as a national and international clearinghouse for information and materials on language-related issues. This agreement led to the formation of the Center for Applied Linguistics, which opened its doors in 1959 under the direction of Charles A. Ferguson, with a grant from the Ford Foundation.
The Center for Applied Linguistics, or CAL as it is now known, is based in Washington, D.C. CAL provides language-related services to business, government, public service, and educational organizations, and it serves as a convener of international conferences on language issues. CAL's goals now are the same as they were at the beginning: to improve the teaching of foreign languages, including English as a second or foreign language, to help solve language-related problems nationally and internationally, and to incorporate the findings of language science into public policy discussion.
Language is an important thread which runs through a variety of issues related to our everyday lives. It affects our educational opportunities, social opportunities, and occupational opportunities. In many parts of the world, individuals are bilingual. In fact, there are more bilinguals in the world than there are monolinguals. In addition, many more individuals go to school for some or for all of their education via a second or later acquired language than who go to school via their mother tongue. For example, at the present time, there are over 100 million Chinese studying English, But here in the United States, we have only about 12,000 students studying Chinese. Concern with language issues, concern with bilingualism in many parts of the world is a way of life. It's a natural phenomenon. It's something to be expected. While in the United States, this is often a problematic issue, often cause for concern. In a curious way, American monolinguals may be the most disadvantaged of all. We believe very strongly that we should work over the decade ahead toward the development of a language-competent American society. In the next few moments, we hope to show you some of the ways in which Cal is working together with others to implement that objective.
In 1975, when 150,000 refugees from Southeast Asia began resettling in the United States, existing programs in English language training were unable to handle either the number or the need. Cal mobilized its network of specialists to develop and to produce thousands of sets of language and cultural orientation materials. Through in-service training for teachers, Cal helped to change the nature and the content of adult ESL, English as a second language. Cal was instrumental in designing curricula based on goals relevant to the life of the refugees.
Cal became a leader in employment-oriented or vocational ESL. In adult classes in the U.S. and in refugee camps overseas, Cal incorporated the language of job applications, want ads, interviews, training manuals, vocational texts, and safety warnings into the curriculum. By designing language materials that teach students to follow directions, seek clarification, read instructional manuals, and fill out forms, Cal has helped focus the ESL profession on the relationship between language learning and real-life tasks. Cal's video series, Working in the United States, depicts real language in use in various entry-level situations. These and other ESL materials produced by Cal are being marketed under agreement with a major educational publisher.
Cal provides the special tools and training needed for urgent situations such as refugee resettlement. For instance, we operate the Regional Service Center in Manila and Washington, D.C., which provides training resources for camps in the Philippines, Thailand, and Indonesia. In addition to Southeast Asia, we have developed language training and cultural orientation materials for refugees from Eastern Europe, Haiti, and Africa.
Było dla mnie od początku podstawową sprawą. Szybko się przekonałem, że bardzo łatwo jest dostać pracę za minimalną stawkę, która wymaga małej znajomości angielskiego. Gdybym umiał przeczytać ogłoszenie w gazecie, to sam bym mógł ją znaleźć.
This man wants to go to the bus station, but he's lost. What question does he ask?
Excuse me, do you know where is bus station?
We've developed major capabilities in evaluating language competence. For example, we designed a series of tests of English listening comprehension, speaking, and basic reading and writing for use with refugee training programs and other programs to determine whether students graduating from these programs can function adequately in an English-speaking environment.
No. How is it different?
Quite a bit of our language assessment work has been carried out in an international setting. For example, we developed an evaluation plan as well as the associated testing instruments to determine the English language competency of Kenyan primary school children who were learning English by means of radio in the classroom. We also evaluated a native language literacy program in 6 languages in the Sudan. Here in the U.S., we recently developed tests of listening comprehension and reading in Chinese for use by Americans who are learning Chinese at the college or university level. We're in the process of developing a speaking test for use in the same contexts. Another important role for Cal is as a clearinghouse of information about the so-called less commonly taught languages. These are all current world languages other than English, French, German, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish.
We've got 12,000 file cards here covering some 900 languages. They represent the single most complete information center on textbooks, grammars, readers, and bilingual dictionaries in the world. Our task is to provide information about these languages. Right now, we are converting from a manual and semi-automated database to a fully computerized one.
CAL's Language and Area Reference Center is funded by a consortium of government agencies. It provides information on foreign language use and language materials. We have prepared over 30 country status reports, each of which describes a multilingual country and shows how the languages in that country are used in such areas as government, media, education, and diplomacy. These reports are distributed to federal agencies, and they are also available to scholars and the general public.
Cal operates the ERIC Clearinghouse on Languages and Linguistics. ERIC is an educational network of 16 clearinghouses funded by the National Institute of Education. ERIC CLL collects and disseminates information in the areas of foreign language education, psycholinguistics, theoretical and applied linguistics, bilingual education, and English as a second or foreign language. Information in the ERIC network is available to teachers, students, researchers, and other interested individuals through microfiche at 750 locations throughout the world, through direct computer search, and through publications such as Resources in Education.
CAL actively seeks to provide information and advice to individuals and organizations involved in the public policy making process. This has taken the form of briefing papers, reports, and testimony provided to Congress, federal and state agencies, and the White House.
CAL's research division is involved in studying language and education and in getting the information from that research into the hands of practitioners and policymakers. We study how children and teachers use language inside of the classroom and outside of the classroom as well. Now, traditionally, CAL has devoted a lot of attention to dialect diversity, particularly non-mainstream dialects of English. In that context, we've worked with a number of different social and ethnic groups, including working class Appalachian, Ozark, Black, Puerto Rican, American Indian, and Vietnamese working class youngsters as well.
We are particularly interested in understanding the role that language plays in the way children learn and in helping teachers with the variety of English dialects they may find in the American classroom. We are also interested in providing normative data for speech pathologists and other child development specialists who must evaluate language development in young children.
From the beginning, CAL has been a publisher of language and linguistic materials. There are over 150 titles available in our current catalog, including work in language teaching, language testing, and literacy. CAL recently formed a collaborative relationship with Harcourt Brace Jovanovich. HBJ is now marketing and distributing our publications worldwide. With HBJ's help in marketing and distribution, CAL is able to concentrate its efforts on finding, reviewing, and editing the best and the most useful manuscripts in the language sciences.
Good afternoon, CAO.
During the past few years, CAL has expanded its range of operations in the private sector.
Check and see if he's in. If you'll hold, please.
CAL language consultants are working with corporations to solve communication problems that occur in the U.S. workplace and in doing business abroad. Because of their continuing involvement with international projects, CAL staff members are particularly qualified to help business organizations who employ workers from other countries and cultures, and to develop cross-cultural and language training programs for Americans who are being sent abroad. CAL also gives writing courses and workshops for business and government employees, and provides information about language issues to the news media. CAL recently conducted a survey for Xerox on the potential market for the STAR multilingual word processor. And Cal is working with interactive training specialists in the United States and Asia to design and implement a technical English course for workers in the petroleum industry. The prototype course uses state-of-the-art technology consisting of a computer-driven learning system combining video disc, audio cassette, color graphics and text, as well as print material.
Hello, my name is Amran Supardi. I am the supervisor of the oil rig you are going to visit. At the rig, I am called the tool pusher.
CAL is a unique resource to businesses as well as government agencies and international organizations. We provide technical assistance and training in a number of communications areas. We use the same procedure with each client. We conduct a needs assessment and discuss the findings with the client, and then prepare an appropriate response and carry that through to completion. All CAL's clients get special services tailored to meet their needs. We have a reputation for accurate, innovative, and culturally sensitive training materials. CAL prides itself on quality control. For example, we don't just translate a text. We assign a native speaker of the language to back-translate that text, and then we compare it with the original text and make whatever adjustments are necessary to assure that the text is free of ambiguity and clear to all of its audience.
The lack of language competence in our society can produce results that range from the bizarre to the tragic. This can and does have adverse effects on economic development, on political stability, and on the quality of life. We have seen an automobile called the Nova fail to sell in the Latin American market because Nova comes out in Spanish, no va, it doesn't go. We have seen the U.S. ambassador to Afghanistan captured and murdered during a scenario in which none of the Americans involved could speak Dari or Pashto, the languages of Afghanistan. In these and in many other situations, Americans found themselves at a distinct disadvantage because of their lack of language competence. CAL is working to help alleviate these problems.
CAL's consultants and associates around the world work with the Washington staff to find practical solutions to language-related problems. This network of professionals is available to client organizations in the private and public sector. In the world of tomorrow, as it has during the past quarter century, CAL will continue doing all it can to eliminate the barriers that impede understanding and communication, both within the United States and among other countries and cultures.